Mark.
This is the kind of issue where Sherman's art really works.
Yes, yes. It's the end of the storyline, the first storyline for Wonder Woman. We're going to talk all about that right after this. Before we get started, don't forget to hit the subscribe button right down below. Also, hit that like button, a little thumbs up. That's also right down below. They're kind of in the same place. You can actually get 2 for 1 by just looking there. And don't forget to leave us a comment. Let us know how we're doing and hit the notification bell so that you're alerted whenever we upload new content. So, yeah, the last Amazon Part 505, the end of the first storyline for Absolute Wonder Woman. And it was pretty good. It was yeah, I like the way it keeps adding new things into the mythos and everything. So
Yeah. And
um,
it felt like a finale, right?
yeah, it really did.
Felt
Yep,
like a finale. It felt like an ongoing. We got an epic conclusion,
I
but
was
we
gonna
got
say,
left with a cliffhanger, and I'm ready for the next issue already.
yeah, it set up it closed everything, put a nice bow on the Tetraside, but it left you with I can't wait till the next issue comes out.
Yeah. And just to catch everybody up, in case it's been a while, we left Absolute Wonder Woman having just cut the giant Tetraside in half using her sword that she's able to manipulate its size with the magic. And we were also introduced with the Stinger page that it looks like the military is observing and wanting to get control of the whole Wonder Woman situation as it all looks bigger than they're comfortable with being out of their control. So that's where we pick up, right where we left off.
Right, exactly. We see Wonder Woman standing in front of the Tetraside. She lets us know through dialogue that it can kind of heal itself, and that the blow that she delivered did not kill it, because it wasn't kind of if you it was a little bit off to one side. It looked like so.
Yeah, she said
Um,
a dead center hit may have killed it, but we
yeah,
work with what we got.
exactly. Um, so she basically says, "Okay, you know what? We still got more that we got to do, but before she can do any more, the Air Force comes in and starts firing missiles at it."
Yeah, shooting it, taking it on, but while it's being hit with these missiles, it's healing like in that moment. And then it immediately starts just kind of redirecting the missiles by means of magic monster, whatever. Magic
Mhm.
monster woo woo. So the missiles turn. Now they're going at the city. So now Wonder Woman can't even fight the Tetracide. She has to race to beat the missiles and stop them before they can cause any casualties inside the city.
Right. She manages to deflect 2 of them. The third one is almost at its destination before Pegasus comes in.
Yeah,
And
Pegasus rolls in. Hey, ain't no Iron team, not with Skeleton Pegasus on the job.
right.
Super cool save there by Pegasus. And then we get this cool moment where she immediately flies up to the jet, lands on the jet, and in the most polite way says, Can you please not do that again?" She's, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, exactly. Then we get that.
Left the pilot in wonder because she jumps off and he just looks down and goes, Whoa. Gives him
Left
the
him in,
Keanu.
left him in wonder. I get that. That's funny.
Yeah.
There you go. We get the double page title thing, and then we flash back to Cersei again with Wonder Woman, who she gives her daughter Diana. She gives her something that she can use when she goes out into the world.
Yeah, we saw Wonder Woman start to pull this out of her bag in one panel before the
Mhm.
two-page splash. So we flash back to see what it is. And it's one of the lassos. Absolute Wonder Woman is not just rocking with a lasso of truth, but I don't even know if she has it.
Mhm.
We've seen the red one, and I forget its name. It was Chaos or some such
Mhm.
thing or something. But now we're seeing a green lasso, glowing green, and her mother are sitting by a campfire, and she's presenting Diana with this gift. And its name translates to sacrifice. So the name of this lasso is sacrifice, and Diana's not too keen on it. She's told that it transforms your prey or your captive or whatever you want to call it. But it doesn't just transform into anything. It's kind of twisted.
Right. So it has what's called transmorphication as opposed to transformation, um, which Webster Dictionary defines that as um, The what does it describe it as? What's the definition? I thought I had the definition, but maybe I
While he
don't.
gets that, Diana is told
Um,
by her mother that it transforms anything,
right.
but what it holds determines the shape of the transformation. So I guess it kind of like transforms it based off what's inside or what it's
Right.
feeling or its
Sorry,
nature. You're doing good.
transmogrification is to change or alter greatly and often with grotesque or humorous effect.
Yeah.
So I guess something like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde wouldn't just be a transformation; it would be like a transmogrification.
Transmorgification. Is that how it's pronounced?
I don't
There's
know.
an odd G in there. The G is definitely
Yeah,
not silent, and it's a
right.
real pain.
Yeah,
But in this flashback, Diana's given the lasso, and it keeps cutting to like a scene of her using it. You see her
mm,
fighting the siren in the water, and she wraps it up with the lasso called Sacrifice. And we, as the readers, don't get to see what it is, but whatever it transmorgificated this siren into shocked, horrified, and broke Diana's heart to the point of her not being willing to use this weapon that her mother gives her, which is an issue.
yeah, exactly. So she goes and she finds is that
Hecate.
Hera? Hecate, right? Sorry, Hecate. Who basically tells Diana, "Look, your mother's doing what she needs to do. You know, trust her. You know, I get the doubts that you have, but she really is looking out for your best interest."
Solidifies it. She's the best at what she does. Also,
Yeah,
she's not just any witch, she's the witch. And for her to
right.
give you something like this means you need it. She can see things in the future. And Diana argues a little pushback. She goes, she can see glimpses of parts of the future, which doesn't necessarily mean she knows the whole story. And Hecate stresses she's seen something
Mhm.
and she knows that you need this weapon. She knows how you feel about this weapon. She knows how you're going to use this weapon to a degree and you're not going to like it. She wouldn't give it to you if she didn't know how important it was. So Diana goes back and apologizes to Circe, accepts the weapon with no real desire or need to use it other than just to appease her mother and not be disrespectful.
Right. And like you said, she goes back to see her mother. She accepts everything that she has there. But then we flash back to the current, and she basically says, you know, there's really only thing that I can do, you know, to try to she's not sure exactly what to do actually. And then she sees Pegasus, and Pegasus does something in her mind, then suddenly makes her realize what it is she needs to do.
Well, I think because where does Pegasus come from?
Right, exactly.
Pegasus comes from a very specific story in Greek mythology, and inside that story, there's all kinds of other great elements
Mhm.
in Greek mythology. And when she sees Pegasus, she says, "Of course, it was in front of me the whole time." And she
Right.
starts wrapping her own arm, this weapon that she does not want to use on anything. She doesn't even throw around the tetracite. She wraps herself in it, and she fires up and just starts transmorgificating.
Ooh, look at you. Yes.
You walked
And
so I could run.
exactly. And she transmogrifies into Medusa.
Not just any, like a kaiju size
Right.
Medusa
Right.
transmorgificated into Medusa. And if you can see the lasso stayed on the arm the entire time.
Right.
But
And for those of you who don't know, Medusa is basically she was someone that was it has hope, but it also has there's an element of hope with her, but there's also an element of destruction, of fear, of all those type of things. Medusa is someone that has basically snakes for hair,
yep.
and if you look into her eyes, whoever looks into her eyes turns to stone.
Yeah, she was a priestess of Athena who
Hmm.
Poseidon took to bed, and
Right.
Athena punished the priestess by cursing her to be Medusa, where no man can lay his gaze on her without turning to stone. And she's horrible looking, awful
Right.
looking. Ugh.
And Diana, as Medusa, stands in front of the Tetracide. The Tetracide lays one eye on her, or multiple eyes.
At this
Um,
point, we just call it the Kraken, right?
exactly, yeah, exactly, yeah. And is frozen solid into stone.
Yeah,
Um,
it's pretty wicked. We pretty much went full clash of the Titans between Pegasus, Medusa, the Kraken out in the
right,
ocean. It's Clash of the Titans at this point. It's amazing.
I was going to say that, but I was thinking about the thing is one of the things that this whole first, and maybe it's more with this issue because you have Medusa and all those other things,
Mhm.
but it definitely gives you a cinematic Clash of the Titans type feel to the whole story. Um,
Yeah, I was looking for Lawrence Oliver in the background somewhere.
yeah, exactly. In these the Ray Harryhausen skeletons.
Yeah. Yeah, but now at this point, it's turned to stone. Crisis averted, or so we think, because apparently, once you transmorgificate, you don't just turn off. She's legitimately a beast now, and she's storming through the city, just screeching and breaking stuff. And uh, Etta Candy, her sister, was it, or her assistant, or friend, whoever
Yep.
it was, and Steve Trevor are all like, "What do we do?" And Steve decides, I'm not leaving her out there. She literally cut her arm off to get me out of hell.
Hmm.
I'm not leaving her out there. We'll see what happens. So he takes a cloth and he wraps his eyes so that he can't accidentally stare into her gaze. And he just follows the sound in the street where she's out front and just
Right.
masks up and walks out there and puts himself in harm's way.
Which had he have actually watched Clash of the Titans, he just could have brought a mirror and looked in the
Yeah,
mirror.
Robert. I brought the shield.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But he basically says, "Look, I know you can. I know you can hear me. I know you can understand. This is not who you are." Then he goes and he starts listing her. You are Diana. Um, you know, um,
Listen, it was
daughter,
epic.
daughter of Circe, the last of the Amazons, Wonder Woman, hero of Gateway City. Yeah, the witch of the Wild Isle. So he starts listing her. He must have been reading a resume that she has, you
She
know,
printed it up,
she printed up
obviously.
from issue one at the end of issue one.
Yeah,
Um,
that was epic.
yeah, and basically that is enough to bring her back. She turns back into Diana, and so everything is all fine and hunky dory. And except for one thing, now you have this massive stone in front of you, and so the best thing to do is just to kind of break it.
Well, when
Um,
there's a giant stone object in the ocean, I assume you just leave it there for at least 5 years and pretend like it never happened. But
exactly,
apparently, in this book, that's not how they approach things. So
and then
Diana went out there flying through the air, fist back, and just shatters it.
well, because there's no adamantium in this one,
There's
so
no adamantium.
yeah. So so she basically, she cracks the Kraken basically. It just smashes into a billion pieces, and so she's standing there now. They're all talking about how wonderful it is, everything's going great. This is really great. And then suddenly this fissure opens up behind her, and this blue energy hand comes up,
It's got to be
grabs
Dr.
her.
Manhattan, right?
You're just dying for Dr. Manhattan.
He's got to be somewhere.
Exactly. He grabs her, pulls her in, and we basically get what the hell from the characters,
Oh,
and then
let's
we find out.
make it.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what we'll get with episode 6 or issue number 6. We'll find out where Diana has gone to, what trouble she's up to now. Who has grabbed her and brought her to wherever. There's no guarantee that she's in hell, but you would think that probably that is where she is. Um,
That's where the
but yeah,
taglines tell us it
yeah,
went. We'll see.
yep. But yeah, I
Phenomenal issue.
yeah, I agree with you about Hayden Sherman, especially this issue, because you don't need a lot of, his art is, for lack of a better term, kind of simplistic. There's not a lot of background. There's not a lot of, but you didn't really need that for this, especially for this issue, because it's really all about the Tetracide and Diana as Medusa kind of facing off against each other. So that
And he
is
does a lot of detail on the monsters, like the
yeah,
tetracide, especially when he cut it in half in the last issue, Medusa with all the scales and stuff. But I think that simplistic thing is really, I mean, I warmed up to it like really early, but I understood people's
mhm,
dislike of it. But I think it elevates in so many ways. That shot of her jumping through the air to punch the tetracide to break it,
mhm,
he doesn't draw lines on faces. He does the outline of the face, the mouth, the nose, and the eyes. That's it. You won't get creases on the cheeks. You won't get creases on the chin. It just is what it is. But if you look, like her eye placement, the way he draws her brows, you can tell like she's looking down at it as she's coming in. She's got an angry face on. And I'm like, dude, it might be simplistic,
mhm,
absolutely, but it does not have a lack of detail to it.
right.
A lot of attention is paid to what he's doing with it. And
Mhm,
it's working for me.
yeah. I think actually he's taking a couple issues off though for the next story arc, but
That's
not
fun.
surprising because he's also drawing Dark Patterns, Batman Dark Patterns as well. So he's
Dan
trying to draw,
Waters.
yeah. So he's doing that. But yeah, first storyline over. Loved it. Can't wait to see where it goes next.
Yeah,
We'll get
well
the
done.
final.
Well
Yeah,
done.
we'll get the final in 2 weeks. We get the final issue number 6 of Batman, Absolute Batman first storyline, and then we'll go into we'll see Mr. Freeze, and so looking forward to that as well. But that's going to be it for this episode of a DC Comics Deep Dive. I am Paul. He is Mark.
But we're Legion.
That's right. And you are now leaving Sector 28.